And we are online. It's week 6. Today we'll be building a to-do list, a simple application that will use the full functionality of the list view. What we want to do, we want to add elements during runtime. We want to be able to remove elements, and also we want to be able to interact with elements. We'll tap on it, and it will take us to the next activity. And that activity will be our details or edit activity, right? So something that normally you would do with this kind of stuff, right? So we'll create a new project. Q3, third version of this application this week. I'm starting with the same setup, so phone and tablet, API 15, and with empty activity, because I will build my UI myself, right? Main activity is a good name for where we start, right? I'm finishing this. We'll do it in few steps. First, we'll build a regular activity with the list using defaults. So basically, we'll repeat something that we did last week, just to make sure that we know all the steps, right? We'll add those events. Then we'll make our activity a little bit more custom. We'll create our own class for the event. We'll create our own adapter and our own layout for the row. So you will see how you can customize the list view. And then we'll add the second activity that will allow us to edit everything, right? So let's start from where we always start, fixing the styles. Okay. Let's edit our UI. Okay, I don't need the text view, so I will remove this element. What I need an input box, because that's how I will be adding new elements to the list. Let's call this, or let's make ID of this edit item. This element should be attached to the bottom and to the left margin, right? What I want to show in terms of the text, I don't want to show the text, so this name should go away. But there is another property of the edit text, which is called hint. Oh, it's not selected. So we don't need name. Okay, but I want to find hint, not hit, hint. New item. This way, this text, you see that it's gray, right? This text will disappear when you enter the cursor in the field, right? So it's a little bit better for what we need. Okay, another thing that we need is a button. Here it is. Button should be next to the view, and it also should be attached to the bottom, and this one attached to the right margin, right? And let's change the layout width to much constraint. It will be a little bit wider, right? And what we want to show on the bottom, the text will be add. And the last element list. I'm adding a list. This element should be above my edit box. So the layout height should be different, not much parent, but much constrained. And we want to attach this guy to the parent on the top and on each side. And so it will take the entire screen except for the bottom part where we will have our controls. And let's add ID that makes sense. Item list. Okay, so we are ready to add some code to our application. All right, so we'll switch to the activity. We'll add some properties for activity. We'll keep data right now in array list. Right, so the private array list, and right now I will use string. I'll call it items. The second property that I need is array adapter. Items adapter. And the last property is the list view. This way I will have access to all those three elements, my entire class, without a need to search for it or acquire it in another way. Right? Because what we'll do in onCreate, we'll set up all three elements. Let's start from the list. Find view by ID, R, ID, items list. And so we've got one. Well, let's create items. Items is a new array list. We even add some items, so we have something to show. Learn Android. And complete assignment 1. That's my to-do list. The next thing that I need to create is adapter. Right, so items adapter, new array adapter, 3 parameters that we need to give to this guy. First is the context. The context is this activity. The second parameter that we are giving is the template, the layout for our row. And again, I told you that we start with the default with a simple layout from Android. So android.r.layout.simple list item 1. And the last parameter that we are passing to the adapter is the data, right? Items. We call it it should be items. Items, right? When we have adapter, then we can tell the list that that's the adapter for the list, right? So set adapter items adapter. If we run this code right now, we should see our first two elements displayed on the list. Let's do that. This building takes a few minutes. Sometimes takes more than a few minutes. Almost there. Our next step will be implementing functionality for the button, right? So here it is. We have two items. Right now, this part is not working, right? So next step, making sure that we can add new elements to the list. We need to find our button. Find view by ID, RID button. And we need to assign on-click listener to this button, right? So btn dot set on-click listener, and we'll create new on-click listener. Here it is. What we need to do here, we need to take the text from the edit text, check if it's not empty. If it's empty, we don't want to add empty elements. But if it's not empty, then we add this element to the list, right? So edit text et equals find view by ID, RID, edit. It's Friday. I stopped. I lost the ability to spell correctly. Let's use edit. So we have our edit text. We need a string. Text equals et dot get text dot to string. Pull it higher so you can see that what I'm typing. If not text dot is empty, then we can add new element. How do we do that? We use item adapter. Notice that I'm not adding directly to items. I'm using the adapter, right? Adapter will do two things. We'll add new element to the data storage, and it will refresh the list as well, right? I'll show you another way of modifying data and also letting adapter know that there is a new thing in a second, right? And the last thing that we have to do, we have to clear et, right? Set text, empty string. Let's test. Eat lunch. Don't forget, right? So we can add more elements. Another thing that I want to do, I want to be able to remove elements from the list. And I will do it with a long tap, long press. We could add swipe or any other gesture that you think makes sense. With swipe, you would have to add gesture recognizer, right? There is extra code that you need to use. With long press, it's just a listener. So it's a little bit faster. So let's do that. Now, this will be interaction with the list, and to be more specific, with the list item, right? So there is a listener called on item long click. And that's the one that we want to use, right? New on item long click listener. Here it is. We are adding it to our list. You notice that we get few parameters, right? Parent is the list view. That's a reference to the list view. View is a reference to the element that was triggering this, so to the item in the list. Position is position in our storage. So what we can do, we can say items dot remove position. Almost done, because that's only removing from the storage. I have to tell the adapter, I have to tell the list that there was a change in the data. And there is a function notify dataset changed that is triggering the refresh based on the new data. And we have to return value, in this case true, because we handled the event, right? Test. Gone, right? Would be nice to warn user before we do something like that, right? So let's use a mechanism from Android that is called alert dialog. It will be a pop-up with the information, right, with the question, are you sure you want to remove it, right? We want to create a new dialog, alert dialog. We want to use a builder. Builder receives the context, not this, but view.getContext. This refers to the listener, not to the activity, right? And we need activity. Now, builder provides us with several functions that are setting up the alert window, right? So we can set title. What can be a title for the notification like that? Warning. You can set the message. That's the text. Do you want to remove this item? You can set other things like icon. You can use set message and get ID, which means that you're using message from the resources, right? You can do many things. You need at least two buttons, right? Because this is the question about, do you want to remove item? So you need the user should be able to say yes or no, right? So we need a positive button and we need a negative button. Let's start with the negative button, because this button is not doing anything. It's quick to implement, right? This is just dismissing the window. First, it needs to know what is the text on the button, and we'll use something that is standard. Android.r.string.no. And the second parameter is the listener. And because we are not doing anything, this one will be null. Now the positive button will be similar. Again, we'll use Android string. This time it will be yes. And we'll need a listener, right? On-click listener. This time, this listener is coming from dialog interface. To make sure that this is correct. New. Come on, help me. I don't want to type everything. Doesn't want to help me. I will do it myself then. What we need on-click. That's the method that we need to implement. In this method, what we are doing here? We are showing the dialog, right? Do you want to remove? User is clicking yes, and we have to perform the actual action, right? So this stuff should be here, right? Now, it says that variable position is accessed from within inner class, needs to be declared final. This is the parameter, so I cannot access it directly, but I can do a trick. I can declare a local variable int position equals position, and I can use this variable as a parameter. Pause. Right. I'm saving my changes and trying to run this. If everything, oh no, I forgot. Always forget about that. I created the dialog, but I need to show it. Remember, I did the same mistake with toast. I created the toast, but never showed it, and then spent some time debugging. So it's building, building, building. Let's wait for it. Let's see. Pressing, that's my warning. If I say cancel, nothing happens. If I say OK, it disappears. One word about the dialog. Order of those two buttons, right? Cancel OK or OK cancel. You can control that with changing the order of those calls, right? If you put positive first, then the positive will be first in the dialog. So we have the list that is functional, right? What I want to do now, I want to modify the way how this list looks, right? So first, I want to have my own class for items. Let's add the class, the regular Java class. The regular Java class that will be my data model, you may say, right? Item. This class will have two private fields, string title, private string subtitle or comment, note, whatever, right? What I can do now, I can generate getters and setters. That's why I like this tool. And I can also generate a constructor that is using both parameters. My class is ready. That's my bin, right? That's my model. To use this with my activity, right? With my list, I will have to provide a custom adapter. Because adapter is a class that knows how to translate from the data type to the actual view, right? So let's add new adapter. New class. Items. Adapter. And the super class for this will be array adapter. Class needs to have a constructor. One of those. You can implement all of them, but at least one of those has to be implemented. And the one that I'm interested in is the one with the same signature that I was using with array adapter, right? That accepts the context, ID of the layout, and the objects array, right? So this one, not list, but array list of items. Okay. So this is the constructor that I actually need. Let me jump to my notes and now, before we start adding more methods to this adapter, what we will need also the layout for our row, right? So I'm going to layouts, right click, new, and layout resource file. I will call this row layout. It is showing the full screen. It doesn't matter. What we need to add, we need to add two fields because we have node and title, and we'll make them look a little bit different than the standard layout in Android, right? So two fields, two text views. First one and the second one. Move them a little bit. This one should be below this one. This guy will be a white thingy attached to the parent. This one will be also white and attached to the parent. Let's make this white, so much constraint, and let's make this bigger. So let's say display 1 or maybe display 2. Display 1 will be okay. This one, again, with much constraint, and we'll leave it as a small text. Okay? What we need to do, we need to set IDs for both of them. So the first one will be txt title. Yes. And the second one, the smaller one, will be txt node. Saving this, I'm going back to my new adapter. In the adapter, I need to do a few changes. First, adapter should remember a few things. It should remember private the array list the data set, and it should also remember the context. So in here, after calling super, I will say this dot context is equal context, and this dot data set is equal to objects. So I have my my information. And there is a method that I need to add, and this method is called getView. GetView is a method that is doing actual job in the adapter, right? So it's finding the element based on the position in the data set, and it's setting up the view with the information. Convert view is element from the list view. It may be empty, and we are setting it up, or we may get the element, and then we are just changing the content of this element, right? We are not calling the parent, but we are doing the following. We are checking if convert view is equal to null. But if it's equal to null, we have to create this view. We have to inflate it, right? So we need a layout inflator. Int equals to layout inflator from, and this from is coming from the context. Then the convert view will be equal to inf dot inflate, and to inflate that we need the ID of the layout, and our layout is layout dot row layout, right? Then parent, because that's where it will be attached, and false to indicate that we are not attaching this new view to the root. Right? It's not the main view, it's element of the complex view. We created a new element, right? We created the view. The next thing, we need to set up the content for this view, right? So there are two text views. Text view title, convert view dot find view by ID RID txt title, and the second one is note, and this is also, sorry, find view by ID r.id txt note. Here it is. We can set those elements, right? We'll have item I that is equal to dataset dot get element from the position. Now we can say title dot set text I dot get title, and note dot set text I dot get note. We have the view created and we have the view set up, right? And now we can simply return convert view. So we have adapter. We have our data model. Let's modify the class, right? So let's go to the main activity. Let's say that this will be array of items, array list of items. Now, instead of using array adapter, we'll use our item adapter, right? So we have to fix the code. This will be new item. School. New item. Right here we have to create, our item adapter. The parameters will be the same except for this one, because we'll use different layout. Right? The buttons are the same. Now, in items adapter add new item, we need to provide a note. Some default text, right? You can come up with something better. Right, so we are adding, when we are removing, no need to change. Let's run. Let's see what happens. You have a different view. And you're adding new elements. You may modify this activity and add the note as well, right? So you have a complete experience, right? Now, this is working. Our next step is to react on click and go to the details activity. So I need new activity. This activity will be run for results, right? I want to edit something, and I want to send information back and forth. So let's add new activity. I'm clicking on app, new activity. Again, empty activity is fine. The name of the activity will be details. Details activity, item activity, whatever. Finish. This new activity has a layout, and I will start with editing the layout. Activity details. In this activity, I will need 2 edit boxes, right? Because I'm editing item, and the button that will save those changes, right? So let's add edit activities on the edit texts and the button. Let's set the constraints. This will be on the top. Width will be much constrained. This should be below. button is our save button. The first view will be edit title. Yes. The second view will be edit note. Yes. In the first one, we need to provide hint. Title. And we have to remove the text. And we have to do the same thing with the second activity as well, right? So hint note. What we'll do, we'll use we'll use extras to communicate with between activities, right? So our detail activity will receive information in the intent, and this activity first, in onCreate, we'll extract this information from intent and set the text to the these two views that we have. And then when we will click button, it will grab the information from the text views, add it to the intent, and send it back, right? So we are getting the intent. We will need two strings, title I.get string extra title, string note I.get string extra note, and our activity is always working with a single item, and this item has some position in the data set. So we'll remember this position, right? Private int position. We will get this position also from extras, right? So I get int extra position. The default we have to provide here will be -1, which means that this is not set, right? Okay, what do we do with the information that we receive? We have to find view by ID r.id edit title. This is edit text, right? The title equals another edit text, it should be note is equal to find view by ID RID edit note. Now title set text title note set text note, right? So we are displaying the information. This activity will be called for results, right? So what we'll do, we'll right now add we'll add the listener to the button, right? So find view by ID R ID. What is the ID of the button? I don't know. Did I set it? Button 2, maybe change it to btn save, so it makes more sense, right? btn save. We need to set on-click listener. New on-click listener. What do we want to do here? We want to grab the information from both fields, right? And set up the intent that we'll send back, right? So we'll need an intent. We'll need both fields. Here they are. Right. We'll need our strings again. String title equals e title dot get text to string note equals e note dot get text to string, right? We have the information. Now we can set the information that we'll send back, right? So title is our title. Note is our note. And position, our position that we remember in the class, right? We set the information. And the last step, setting the results. We are saying that everything was okay, and this is the intent that we want to send back. And we can finish the activity, right? So when we click save, it is saving the information and going back the list. Now we have to receive this information in our main activity. In the main activity, we have to add function on activity results. We also have to define code that will identify our call, right? So edit item equals 1. In our activity, on activity results, we'll check, as you may remember, a few things, right? We'll check if request code is equal to edit item, right? We'll check also if result code is equal to result OK. If so, this is our call, and this is a successful call, which means that from data, from the intent that is sent back, we can retrieve the information, right? So first, int position, we can get data get int extra position. If position is not -1, we can continue, right? We can acquire the title. So data dot get string extra title. We can acquire the node dot get string extra node. And we can retrieve the element from the list, right? So item items dot get item from the position, item set node to node, item set title to title, and we can put the item back to the list, right? Now we did those changes. So now we have to say to items adapter that there was a change, right? Notify data change. Almost there. I'm missing one piece, and that is adding a listener that will react to a tab on the list and will start my activity, right? We'll give you some time to type this in. Okay, so let's add the listener. All right, so I'm going up to my onCreate. Notice that most of the stuff that is interesting today is happening in onCreate. We have to add new listener to the list. And this will be on item click listener. New on item click listener. We have two listeners attached to the items, right? One is on long click and the other one is on click. What we want to do here, we want to create new intent. This intent will tell us that we want to start the details activity as a result of our actions. We have to put extras, right? So we need to set up the second activity. So we need to pass the position, title, items dot get position, get title, and the note. So our envelope is ready, filled with information. Start activity for results. The first parameter, the first parameter is the request code, and this request code is edit item. The second parameter is our intent. The other way. Intent and edit item, right? First the intent, second the code that we are sending. We should be ready to test. Right, so I can add new item. I can edit item. And when I'm done, I can remove items from the list. So what we learned today, well, we repeated the steps to add list view to our application, to our activities. We learned how to customize this view to adjust it to our needs, to our classes, display different information or in different format. We also combine that with start activity for results, so we can start the next activity, do some actions there, in this case editing the item, and get the information back to our list and refresh the view, right? This is something that may be useful for your assignments, right? If you want to have some custom elements in your applications. So feel free to explore that code and use it in the assignment. All right. That's it for today. I will stop this and I will upload the code and link to the video to Blackboard. Right. I'm stopping the recording right now.